Hey guys, welcome back to Creative VFX for a new tutorial, and this time we are talking about null objects. So what is a null object? A null object can be used for a lot of things, but basically it's just an empty placeholder, an empty container where you can apply things to or have it just retain some information. But it can be used for various things. So let's start by creating a null object, and you do that by right clicking, choose new null object. If I do that, I have two null objects right now. So basically it's just a red empty square with this red outline on, and you can see its position anchor point is up in the upper left corner, and that's how null objects anchor point is set from default. So I have different scenarios here where we can use it. So I'm thinking let's just jump in and see what we can use it in real life applications. So for this footage here, this is just a basic tracker. So if we select our movie clip, our footage, go over to our track motion, and then basically find a point. That we're gonna talk about the tracking in another tutorial. This is just to show you what we can use the null for. So I want to track this blue playground toy thing, and just for the sake of tutorial, just a quick one. Stop. Okay, so now we can see it applied our tracking data, and we're gonna edit target, and here is where we're gonna choose our null. We wanted to apply the motion to our null object. Hit OK, and then go to apply, and we want to apply on the X and Y. Hit OK, and that's it. So all this tracking data you see right now below our footage, you can go ahead and delete that, because if you hit U on the null, and let's just enable the eyeball for the null, and hit U, there it is, all our tracking data. And look at the null, it has generated all these tracking data. So you can scrub forward now and see how the null object actually, see how it sticks there to that blue point. And after this frame here, we didn't track any further, so here it will of course go off frame, but here it sticks really good. And here's a good example. For example, choose new text, right play, for example, and let's move that up here, and then with the play we parent it to the null. Now it's parented. Now we can disable the eyeball, we don't want to see the null. Now play back. Now see how that the word play has stuck to the null object, and the null object is attached to this blue box over here. So that's one way of using null objects. So basically we have our null. For most of cases you wouldn't need to see it, so you would just shut off the eyeball. So that's one way of using it, withholding tracking data. So another example is with lights. So we have here our null object again, and then we have a layer. Let's just solo this layer. Now the only layer you can see is just a black solid layer with an effect from optical flares from Video Copilot. So it's just some optical flares. I just applied that and didn't do anything else. So go back to enable our null. So what I want to do is show something here. Let's choose our null, and then with the motion sketch window, motion sketch, and then go down, choose null object and start capture. Let's just make a little motion path. Yeah, this is crazy. And release the mouse. Now we have a motion path for our null object. See that? Okay, so what we can do here now is actually hit the P for position on the null, go to the optical flare, find the position in XY. Here it is. Hit Alt on the keyboard on a PC, and it's gonna enable the expression. And here on the expression, we're just gonna pick whip, take the whip here and pick it, and then drag it up to the position of the null and release. Okay, now see what's gonna happen. Cool, right? The light is actually following our motion path from the null object. So that's another way. Okay, another cool thing is use it as a controller for cameras. So we have here some text. I just wrote flat 3D world, and I enabled the freeze switch for that, and then I applied a basic camera. So what you can do here is actually parent. You see, this is just a null object. I just renamed it camera control. Just take the camera and parent it to the camera control. So now with the camera control, now you can actually control the camera with the null. See this? It's better to see it in a custom view. Right now we're looking at the active camera. If we go to custom view, here it is. Now our camera is selected, right? Now it's our null object. And look, when we move the null object, what's happened? Let's scroll down the transformation. Okay, let's check the scale, for example. Look at it, controlling the camera. You see that? All the controls here are controlling the camera because the camera is parented to the camera control. So that's also pretty cool itself. So you can use it as controller. So let's move over to another subject called expressions, and this is meant for, it can also be used for expression controls. So what do I mean by that expression control? So this is actually pretty easy. This one is not intimidating one as the expression lesson we're gonna learn later on, but there's actually on this null object there's actually an effect called slider control. Right, slider control, double click that. Now we have a slider. It doesn't do anything because there's nothing associated with it right now. So what we do now is we will apply let's just say a lens flare. I'm gonna show something here. Lens flare. Let's duplicate that. Okay, and what we want to do with this is that we want to associate the brightness with our slider. So we'll check our flare brightness, hold Alt, take the pick whip, go down to the slider. Oh, sorry, open to all of this up, then go down to the slider, release. And you can do the same thing with this one. Let's roll up the first lens, Alt on the keyboard, hold that down, hit flare brightness, pick whip it down to the slider control, and enter on the keyboard, and that's it. So now there's nothing going on, right? Also, you can just shut off the eyeball. We don't need the slider. We don't need the null object to see that. So now look at the lens. With this controller, we're controlling the brightness. Look at this. So the keyframe here is 0. Hit U to see the keyframe. Go a little bit further. Up. Look at that. Look at the keyframe. Go a little bit further. And you know what? Actually, let's move one of the center of this one over here, and both of them need to be add. Now you can see what's going on. And go back to the slider, go all the way up, all the way down. Let's hit spacebar. So I think you're getting the picture, right? You can use these for a lot of things. So this was just a basic tutorial to show you what null objects can be used for. Most of the time I use it for camera tracking, but also especially for the light. I rarely use them for the controlling of the camera, but it actually works really good. But for tracking data and light motion path movements, it works perfectly. So guys, this was just a quick tutorial on null objects. So thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. Bye guys. See you. Bye.